Hi, everyone. My name is Vanessa. I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date's October 8th, 2017. And I am sorry I don't have a keep it simple today. And I'm sorry I haven't had it for the last couple days. As you may know, I was celebrating my birthday on a little mini road trip. And during my travels, I misplaced the book and I didn't keep up on these recordings. And please give me a break because it was my birthday. But I do want to tell you a little bit more about and just kind of my reflections and what I thought about on my road trip. And this is something that I do every year. I take just some time for myself. I don't let anybody come on this trip with me. I've done it since I was got sober, my first year being sober. I went out and I try to do solo road trips anyway, at least once a year. This was the first time I got to do it this year, so it was especially important that I go alone. And I use the time to just reflect and really be with God. And what that means is like really having a conversation with God. And I don't ever feel lonely on these trips. I don't now feel lonely in a general sense. I really enjoy being by myself. And these road trips are kind of a way for me to experience God and conversation and life and reflect without the, I guess, I don't know, like the pressure of like performance or something. I don't, I feel like sometimes in conversation when I'm reflecting on certain things, I can get kind of caught up in having the right answer. And when I'm with God, God knows I don't know shit. So it's a lot easier to be like, I don't know what to do about this, or I don't know what to do about that. So I really enjoy having these solo trips. And as I enter the last year of my 30s, it is extremely humbling. Actually, I just feel so grateful to be on this earth in the capacity of which I am because my life is, I go, okay, let's see if I can make this video without crying because my life is so different than it was 10 years ago. My last year of my 20s was when I got my third DUI. I went to jail and then I celebrated my 30th birthday being transferred from jail to a court-ordered rehab. So I genuinely did not have even my freedom at that point when I was 29, and I was deeply depressed. I did not want to live on this earth anymore, and I really didn't see a purpose. I was extremely lonely. I was extremely directionless. And I was sad. Like I was just like a really, really sad girl. Even though outwardly you wouldn't be able to tell because I made sure to not make it your problem. Like I really didn't want to burden anybody with the mistakes that I had made and the repercussions of those mistakes because it was embarrassing. It was like, oh, I fucked up my life. Now I need you to reassure me that everything is going to be okay. And at that point, people got kind of sick of reassuring me anyway because nobody really knew. I was kind of a mess. Who knew if things were going to be okay at that point? And I really am grateful, though, that as I began to take myself seriously and maybe really try for a different life, that there were people who popped up that were like, you don't belong here. You deserve better. I believe in you. Like these really corny sayings that we can say just like really flippantly, or you see on a greeting card. It's just like, no, those words actually did change my life. And seeing other people reflect the goodness back to me that I had in myself was really uncomfortable sometimes. And I would push some of those people away. And some people were able to get through to me, and I'm grateful for them because they kind of stuck around and had some more patience for me than I had for myself. It changed my life. I was like, if this person thinks that I should be doing better, then maybe I can do better. Maybe I'm not a complete piece of crap. I specifically remember one of my bosses was extremely instrumental in this, and we still keep in touch now. God, I really cannot believe that was 10 years ago. That is outrageous. So much has changed in 10 years. So 10 years ago, again, so 29, had just got my third DUI, was in jail, then court-ordered rehab, and oh God, my mental health was just so bad. I really had no hope. I really felt so hopeless. And anyway, my old boss gave my old job back. Both of my old jobs gave me my old jobs back. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And people were just so rooting for me, like they were really encouraging. And I was like, okay, I can't let these people down. That's really what was going through my mind. Like even at that point, I didn't have enough regard for my own self. I was doing it for other people. And so from that point, anytime that I relapsed, it felt specifically or it felt especially worse because I was like, I'm letting all of them down. At that point, like, because I still didn't get sober until I was 31. So I still had 2 years of not being able to stay sober consistently and or take my programs actually seriously, like the way that I needed to. And it wasn't until I was able to really do it for myself that I was able to hit that more long-term sobriety, right? Because once I hit 31, that's when I got really scared because I was like, oh, I really cannot control this. And I'm gonna need to do this for myself. I need to feel like I am worth this. And I was only able to hit that because I felt like God thought that I was worth it. Um, and so that's a whole other thing, right? So anyway, and even then, when I was 29, I moved to a sober living, and all the drama. If you've ever been in a sober living, of you have a house full of addicts and alcoholics, like there's going to be nonstop drama, and then going to all the meetings, and just even then, just my relationship to my family was also still really chaotic because. Of course, they didn't trust me. They had no reason. I had not done anything for them to trust me yet. And my friendships were few and far between. Like nobody really knew me. I didn't really feel seen because I didn't really know myself. And so I didn't let anybody else see me or know me. Even though it was what I desperately wanted, I just didn't have the capability at that point to get close to anybody without using them as an escape for myself. And then advocating for myself was still really difficult. I had zero boundaries. I was constantly being used by people. I was just 29. Exiting my 20s was not a good time, but I am still genuinely so grateful for that because I don't know who I would be if that year didn't happen to me. I don't think I would be where I'm at now. Now I do have like a great community of friends. I have best friends. I have people I talk to every day. I have a family who I can hang out with for hours at a time and not argue with, which is and not feel like triggered by and not feel, I don't know, like there's just peace, there's just actual love there. Like the expectations have been shed. All of that, all of the resentment there is gone right now. And I didn't ever think that I could have a relationship with them like I have now. I have a job that I worked really, really hard to carve this job out for myself and that I know I am doing my best at and that I find interesting and that I feel like I have a voice in. But at the same time, if I were to lose it tomorrow, I know that it would be in God's plan and I wouldn't feel the world crumble beneath me. I am part of communities that are very important to me. I'm part of RLC and I'm looking to reach even more people. And I'm going to have some news about that shortly. I'm just really grateful and in awe. And so as I go on these solo road trips, I do use this time to reflect. And that was really just like, I just really never thought I would get here. And listen, oh, and I have like my own place and I live in San Diego still, and I'm just so grateful for that. And have a car, which by the way gets a lot of tickets on it. But I'm like, this is the quality of my problems now. It's like I have a lot of tickets. I'm basically funding the city of San Diego at this point with my parking fees. But like that's way different than the humiliation of scrounging for change to get a box of wine. These are just different realities that I'm in. And I'm really grateful, but I'm still really grateful for the experience of having to have gone through that. Not, I mean, oh God, I can't even, I just feel, I was just like a cloud of anxiety and darkness. It really was, you guys. It was so bad. Anywhere I went, just me and my chaos were just like, it was just a bad time. And now to just be like peaceful and like that my road trip was just a really good reflection, a really good time to spend time with God and just be grateful for that. Everything that I've gone through and just being like, oh, okay, your plan was way much better than mine. And having faith that and using that as a foundation for like whatever comes next. Whatever comes next, I know that I can get through it. I know that yeah, there's inconveniences, there are things that I think should be different, but any of the heartbreak, any of the grief, any of the sadness, any of the disappointment can be overcome in time, and things will end up much better. Things will end up the way that they are supposed to, but there is one crucial ingredient to that, and it is my willingness to do the work to make things good. I could have gone through everything that I've gone through and not taken next steps. I could have just been complacent. I could have just been like, screw this. The police department sucks. Well, they kind of do. But this, and just victimized myself and made everything everyone else's fault and not taking any accountability, not taking charge of the situation, not made any changes. And I could still be left in that cycle, in that revolving door of chaos that alcoholism and addiction puts us in that spiral. And who knows how long it would have been until I crashed a car and killed somebody or killed myself, right? Or just even worse, just lived a really long time or until I drank myself to death in a miserable state. So, and I've known people who've done that, unfortunately, and they were just my age. So it's not that hard to do, believe it or not. Especially as a woman, our bodies are just not meant to metabolize alcoholism. We're just not as dirty as men can be, who can go on to live decades. We die much faster, right, from that. So if I hadn't made those changes, if I hadn't been able to, all the things that I would have missed out between then and now, all of the nights of just laughing my ass off until I was crying because it was just so ridiculous. All the beautiful people who I've met, all of the great landscapes that I've got to see just by driving around and road tripping and like meeting people and seeing weird little buildings, and all the art I've experienced, all the music I've listened to, all the food that I've eaten, all the people I've gotten to meet and to love and to know. And it's just like I couldn't have any of that with my alcoholism. It just wasn't going to happen. Addiction makes your world so small. Even if to the outside it doesn't look like it, because I was still kind of doing stuff anyway in my alcoholism, but my experience of those things was so limited because it was so small. I wasn't able to actually be present and experience things. And so I'm grateful. And even now I can still get stuck in not doing that, right? When I'm like wrapped up in my head and like anxious or like worried about something that doesn't need to be worried about, or in resentment, that stuff can still block me. And so it's also just a really good reminder to me to like, let's stay present. This is what we fought for. This is what we came here for, right? And I want to always be present and connected to that. And also just the work that I've done to develop this relationship and reliance and trust and faith in God. So as I was road tripping, just thinking like, oh God, like I've done so many of the things that I wanted to do when I got sober. I really did have a vision board about 5 years ago. I made one, and almost everything on that vision board I completed except finishing my book. And which honestly, I have a draft of the book, but I wanted to actually like have it published, like self-published and sold. I haven't done that yet. That's actually still a work in progress. I've been playing with that a little bit more lately. There was something else on there that I hadn't done. But my health goals, yeah, because I, especially recently, having become anemic, that was an issue that came up. So like those things have, and so now I've reached. Then of course the tumultuous stuff happens, the grief, the loss, the job changes, the housing changes, all of this stuff also happens. And now I'm trying to understand like where do I want to go from here? If that much has happened in the last 10 years, what do I want to happen in the next 10 years? And how can I continue to support this recovery that has been this recovery and this connection to God that has been the foundation for this life, right? And so I was thinking and I was contemplating that, and I got really excited about some of the ideas that started to come to me. And one of those things is starting some small groups. So I have been talking to the creating small groups, and I think that I'm still honing and refining this process, but the small groups that I want to do, I want them to be for addicts and alcoholics who are looking to get sober or find sober community and also pursue a purpose higher than themselves. I know that a lot of addicts and alcoholics feel like they don't have any direction And people often feel like they need to have, like, there's no purpose. And I know that people don't see their purpose sometimes. And I know when I'm sitting across from a sponsor or I'm working with somebody who is in active addiction, I mean, my heart is just like, I just wish that they could see themselves the way that I see them, because I'm like, you are so worthy of all the good things that God has in store for you. And the reason that this addiction feels so bad is because that you should be doing so much better. And not in the societal ways of like, I should be having a house and married with kids, but you just on a spiritual soul level know that this is not for you. Like, this is not where you should be, right? And it's like, should could be such a dirty word, but it's like, there's some truth in that. There's something convicting in our souls. It's like, we were made for much more than this. And it's true. And that's a truth that we need to hold on to when we are stuck in addiction or in addictive behaviors or self-defeating beliefs, right? Or those self-imposed limitations. And it's like, no, we know that this feels wrong because we know that we're capable of so much more. And so what I want to start doing is creating communities, creating small groups around this idea. And that also creates kind of like supports, encouragement, and this word keeps, and I had to go when I went back to visit my parents recently, I pulled this book out because I kept thinking as I was like kind of marinating this idea of like how to make this happen, because I still don't know how to make this happen. I mean, I'm gonna have the support of RLC from what I understand, but I still want to have like a better idea of how to like make this actually work. And the word that keeps coming up to me for addicts and alcohol, and you guys are the first ones to hear me say this, is like I really want to mobilize addicts and alcoholics to create change in this world. And what I mean by that is, and it's this book kept popping in up for me. It's called Mobilizing Hope. It's by Adam Taylor, and it's faith-inspired activism. And it's pretty political in terms that what they're saying. And I don't want these groups specifically to be political, but I do want them to be action inspired. It's like we get sober not to just stay sober, but we get sober to do something good in the world. And I really want to mobilize addicts and alcoholics and encourage them that we do have purpose outside of being hungover and a mess and a tragedy and a burden on everyone's lives. But we need to get sober in order to do that. And then let's discover as a group or as a community what our dreams are, what our passions are, what hurts us, and how we can turn and eyes that hurt into something good, and to make a change in this world, so that we spend so many of our years on this earth in our addiction hurting people and hurting ourselves, that I feel like the great antidote to that is to then turn around and make things good. That's why I have the create tattoo, because I did feel like I spent so much of my life just being destructive, and I didn't want to do that. And I worked really, really hard. I worked really, really hard to not cause more harm to people and to just do good as I can. And it's not always good all the time. Okay. I will like that right now. I am in no way saint, but I am looking to become saint nominated once I die. So if anyone, if you know the Pope, please let me know. No, but seriously. So I don't know. This is just kind of an idea that I'm kind of like trying to figure it out. I'm just kind of sketching it out in my brain. Kind of sometimes saying things out loud helps, but I really just want to make a place for addicts and alcoholics to understand that sobriety is not the end of it. Like, there's more, and we can do more. And actually, we can be the catalyst for change in a lot of ways, a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be politically done. It could be creative and artistic, and it could be just within our own homes, with our own families, and really breaking patterns and ancestral trauma and all of that. Like, we have this within us, and we need to be the people who are the catalyst for these changes. And because there's already so much change that happens when we decide to choose a life of sobriety versus falling to the default that the society feeds us of becoming addicted to anything and everything. I don't know where my Keep It Simple book is. I do know that it's with me. I feel confident about that. I will find it. It might have fallen out in my car somewhere, but but as soon as I find it, I will get back to regularly scheduled videos daily. And Meanwhile, I just want to thank you for being here. I am so grateful for the people who I know and don't know on this channel, and just for people who watch and leave comments. And I've made my Instagram public again, so if you guys want to follow me there, please do. I really shied away from interacting on the internet with people actually, and I think I'm ready to change my beliefs around that and really engage in community again. And this is one way I get to do that. And just as a reminder that we're not doing this alone, we really are all in this together. And I appreciate everyone sharing their experience. And I love you. I hope that you're hanging in there. Leave me a comment. Let me know what's going on. How was your weekend? And I don't know, would you join this group, this small group, if I don't know if to make it just one giant group or multiple like chapters of groups. I don't know. I'm gonna figure that out. But if you have any insight or any feedback on this, would love to hear it. Again, I love you and thank you for celebrating my 39th birthday with me. And I was going to do that via a vlog, which did not get done because I stopped recording after the birthday. But I think that's a really good sign that I had a good time. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much. All right. I love you guys. Have a great day.